nasty. Not good. Not good. Not good. She's a genuine B16A3 with a short ram. Maybe that's cold air intake for these, I don't know. But yeah, there she be. It's gonna be some work, but it should be fun. It does try to turn over, which is at least somewhat of a decent sign. I've gone ahead and drained the oil, and as we can see, it is not not good. That is chocolate milkshake looking, which probably is an indication of coolant. And I'm about to pop the seal here on the coolant line that you can't quite see, but I've got it loose here. I just need to wiggle it up and off here, and we'll get that draining, although I'm not sure there's much of anything in it. Well, hey, looks like coolant so far, but we'll see what happens. Well, so far what's come out of the bottom of the radiator is good, but what I saw up here on the top was not so good looking. So I'm curious to see what the problem here is. So what we've got here is the coolant overflow tank, and it is not looking so hot. It was stuffed, and it looks like it has definitely been overflowed. I assume this needs a new radiator, new radiator desperately. For one reason or another, it was overheating. So we'll go ahead and get that cleaned up and get around to seeing what the heck the problem might be. Oh, for now I've got the fluids drained. I went ahead and pulled the radiator. I think I'm just going to start by replacing the radiator cap, thermostat, all that good stuff. Obviously flush the oil a little bit, put new oil in it, and then I'm gonna start it up and see what happens after that. They did say it was overheating before it was stolen by a family friend. They'd asked him to work on it, and instead of work on it, he just took it out and raced it. So, you know, that's always fun. So yeah, it has some problems, but I'm going to start by trying to address the basics of the overheating issues and go from there. So, quick story time. How I've come to acquire this seemingly random Del Sol. Unfortunately, my best friend and vocalist, Dylan's stepfather Paul, passed away suddenly a while back, and, well, not a while back, a few months back, earlier in the year, and they needed it off the property. It's obviously having problems, as I've explained earlier, so they just said, hey, look, if you want to take it and try and fix it, you can have it, it's yours. So once she gets all the paperwork figured out, she'll sign the title over to me, and that's that. So in the meantime, I've got to figure out what's wrong with this glorious B16A3 Vtec DOHC engine, and then I should have a pretty fun little car to drive. Definitely needs some love. There's plastic pieces out of place, and they had gone away to Nicaragua for a while and asked an old family friend to clean it up, and instead of cleaning it up, he decided to, well, by clean it up I mean fix the overheating issue that they were having, and instead of doing that, he just went out and raced it. So I'm sure it probably needs a new clutch. It's probably going to need head work. But I'm just going to see what happens here. You can see the glorious 8,000 way down there. Here, hold on, let me get some better light on the situation here. Here we go. 9,000 RPM tax, got 159,000 miles on it, which for a Honda, a 90s Honda, is not that bad. I mean, it's definitely been driven, but otherwise, yeah. We're gonna clean her up and see what we can do with her. Should be fun. So if you guys know anything about Honda Civics or rebuilding a B series, let me know. Just been slowly taking easy to remove and move parts off and giving them a good rub down. It's probably going to need a respray at some point, but I might touch it up. We'll see. I might just wrap it because don't want to deal with paint. So yeah, just the current state of affairs with the Del Sol. Front bumper and hood are off. I think next is going to be the rear bumper, and I should have parts arriving this Monday that will allow me to start doing the radiator replacement and all the bits surrounding that. So we will get there just as soon as we get there. Scrubbing up the hard top here, and you can see all these little spots. Well, they actually scrub off. So all those cloudy, nasty looking spots, I might actually be able to get cleaned up for the most part. The paint might still be viable underneath. So I want to keep scrubbing on it and see if we can't get rid of all that nasty. So it's definitely not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than what it was just by washing it. So who knows? Maybe a good polish and wax will do it good. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it for having just washed it by hand with some soap. Can't ask for better results. Cleaned up way better than I expected. We do have some paint chipping here on the corner, and I think, yeah, I've got a paint chip right here too. But overall, it's not too bad. There's a few spots here and there that definitely need a once over, but what panel on this car doesn't? Just been working on a little more disassembly here. Gone ahead and taken out the rear tail lights, taken off the rear garnish for the license plate, and cleaning up the inside. Gonna take off the rear bumper, go ahead and clean up underneath it and all around. Just trying to slowly get things cleaned up here one step at a time, and then I can start putting things back together. Some parts of it are just gonna have to wait until I can take it outside and actually wash it, but some of the easier parts that just pop off and I can pop right back on, I'm not afraid to take them off and haul them over here and wash them. Speaking of which, this finally dried up, and yeah, it's sun-baked real bad. So yeah, it's definitely gonna need some love. Spoiler actually cleaned up fairly decently. At least the bottom of it. The top is sun-baked. Surprise, surprise. Not as bad as this, but it's getting there. So that's going to need to be repainted. As if that's a big shock and surprise to anybody. Did take off the hood and clean it. Not very well, but again, I'm just trying to knock the majority of the dirt off so we can actually kind of see what we're working with here. Try to knock off some of that. Need to make another swing at it. Looks like it's got coolant everywhere. But, as it were, it's cleaning up slowly but surely. Hopefully by next week I should have an idea of it running. I finally zapped the battery back to life with a jumper box. So now it'll turn on. By that I mean the interior will light up. It'll make its binging noise at me, but I'm just kind of leaving it to charge for now. So one step at a time, one step at a time. So next is going to be this rear bumper. It's going bye-bye. Progress report. Rear end's pretty much disassembled, ready for me to pull it out, clean it. I've got seats pulled out so that I could clean up in here, pulled all this out. Turns out I've got no speakers. So I guess I'll have to replace those at some point. Went ahead and pulled out all the old spark plugs and replaced those. Got some new wires in here. You know, just for peace of mind. I don't really think that they're gonna be an issue, but you know, better safe than sorry. So new spark plugs, new wires. I just topped it off with some fresh oil and a fresh oil filter. So as soon as our cooling supplies get here, radiator cap, thermostat, I'll go ahead and get all that installed, and then we'll try to fire it up again. See if it overheats. See just what happens. See if it runs okay, or if it's got its own issues, or what have you. But hopefully it should be alive by next week.